welcome back to Ruby the Elite, and today we are working on our Elite 250. I'm getting ready to sell it, and there's something I need to take care of today before I do. There seems to be an issue with something in the handlebars, but let's get to it. Well, today we're going to take a look at our switch for our turn signals. You know, over years and years of use or sitting, all the dust and dirt gets all piled inside here. And then it starts to really become hard to use this. So today we're going to clean it all out and renew it. Of course, make sure you disconnect your battery first. Now there are two long screws that hold this on underneath. Make sure you take those off first. But you can see now as I try to move the switch, it just does not want to move as easily as it should. So we're going to lubricate it, we're going to clean the contacts out, and we're going to make this work like it's brand spanking new. Now you're not going to find the instruction for this in your owner's manual or in your service manual. That's because Honda doesn't anticipate things 40 years down the road. So this is something that you just got to learn on your own, and I've done this on quite a few bikes over the years. And when you go to remove this, first start by taking those two screws off, and this whole middle switch will come off in one piece. This is the easier way to do it. Rather than taking that screw out in the middle, there's no need. But there is a need for some grease. There's nothing on this. So we're going to use some of this dielectric grease made by Permatex. And by adding some in here, it's going to make this move a whole lot smoother. This is made for switches, so there's no worries about this or any harm that you're going to bring to your bike. So I put it on pretty liberally, not overly doing it, but just enough that's going to allow it to move back and forth and side to side. And as you can see, it's moving much easier now, but you'll really notice this more when I go to reinstall it. But this is just the beginning. Lubricating this is the first thing that we need, but we really need to get the rest of these screws out and get to those contacts. We start with this first screw that goes around our back, and then we do this one as well. And then once we remove it, it's going to allow us to get inside the switch. So first move all your cabling up a little bit, and then you're going to use a screwdriver to lightly pry this out. Be very careful because you have all of these wires and you don't want to harm any of them. So, very, very gently pry it out. Now it might take a little bit prying here and there, but it eventually will come loose. And our contacts are in here, so we need to get to this. When you go to remove the switch that's inside, you need to be super careful that you don't fling it open and then have everything fly out of it, because you'll never find the springs or the copper contacts in there. So by pushing this up a little bit, we'll disconnect it. Try to keep it going north if you can. Put your thumb over the contacts as you remove it. That way they stay in place. They will fly off and you'll never see them again. Now we need to clean up the inside of this. So first we remove it. There's a spring that's in here, actually two springs. There's a tiny little ball. We're going to take it apart gently. Do it over your table so that way it doesn't fly apart and then you can't find anything. We're going to put some of this grease everywhere on that. Now we're going to go ahead and clean our contacts with some 2000 grit sandpaper just to make them look nice and clean. And then afterwards, just a tiny bit of grease to go over the contacts to make it easier for when you switch back and forth. We're also going to put some grease in here because this is where the plastic parts move, and it'll just make for a much easier left and right motion. Now that we have everything all lubricated, again, try to keep it going up. Then you put the back part in, which this takes a little bit of finesse to do. Be patient, get the back portion in, and then you push the front portion in. There's little tabs, and I got it. Now that I have that together, just by moving that white plastic back and forth to make sure that the switch is moving freer, which it is, it feels much better than it did before we did the lubrication and the cleaning. That dielectric grease did a really nice job of allowing everything to move nice and tightly. Now once we push this all back into place, we can go ahead and put our screws back on. Again, just be patient. It will take a moment or two to get back on, but look at, I can already tell that's so much nicer. So we just have this back plate which holds our wires in place. We'll put that on, and then we have the two other pieces. And then we'll do a quick test. And we'll put on our actual switch, making sure that that white switch is directly in the center when installing this, because there's two leads on either side that have to be in place. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And we just have the two screws to put on either side of this. Followed by our one piece in the back. Now we'll go ahead and make sure all of our screws are nice and tight. Including that one in the center that we didn't even remove. Now, wow, what a difference. It releases much easier when you push it in the middle as well as left and right. Now we're going to go ahead and reinstall everything just to make sure. Just one last check. Once we put it around our handlebar like so, and then I'll show you those two screws that you have to remove. Making sure when you put this on, you see how you can move it left and right? You want to make sure it's pushed forward, just like so. Here's one of those long screws, goes right here. You want to start with the one in the back. Get that one pretty tight and then move to the one in the front. And once you have both of these on, then we'll go ahead and push that front panel back over the top, which I just did. Now we'll give it a quick check. And wow, it feels like brand new, folks. And that's all you need to do to clean and renew your turn signal switch. And after a quick test drive, the signals worked beautifully. Not sure why I waited so long to do that on this bike, but it definitely needed it. Well, I'm going to leave you with some other videos on the Elite 250, as well as I just finished up a whole bunch on the Helix, and then I'll throw some others on there as well. Whatever interests you, if you do like Honda scooters, I'm trying to build a nice library of all different kinds. And please subscribe if you haven't already. And give me a thumbs up. Supports my channel, makes me want to create more. I will see you all next time with another video.